What's up, guys? Today I'm bringing you the Delicate Yachiru partner review. So these are going to be my opinions about the partner. She did come out last events, and I wasn't able to get the video out until the next set of events, so you're not able to get her as of now. Maybe she'll return in the future, possibly more towards holiday events. I don't see her being in standard events. But over time, I believe we will see her full potential because a lot of partners are starting to get more recognition as time goes on, as well as when more characters come out, you can basically get some nice combos, nice effects going, nice formations. But let's take a look at Delicate Yachiru. So she is a triple S quality partner. She uses a ghost blade weapon, and I believe she is mostly suited for PvP. Taking a look at her abilities, she doesn't look more of the PvE type. But looking at her growth rates, I would say her growth rates are very solid. Now, having a base stat for strength as far as 5,000 goes with a 5.0 growth rate, that is up there with the recent assaulters. I feel the agility is pretty low. 4,400 base stat with a 4.1 growth rate. It's very low, but assaulters aren't really all that fast. There's only a couple that I can name, possibly Koga, Yawatch, and Handsome Toshiro. Might be a few more that are above, closer to the 5.0s, but Yachiru doesn't make that cut. She has 3,600 wisdom as well as a 3.5 wisdom growth rate, which doesn't really mean anything. It would just, I believe it would scale off your strategy or your keto defense, so. And as well as 5,800 base stat for health, as well as a 5.0 growth rate. She's pretty high up there with HP wise, but let's take a look at her abilities. So, her talent, I can't even pronounce that word. She increases her own strength by a certain percentage. It could be around 16% to 20%. I have no idea. It hasn't been confirmed how much she gets. As well as increasing her own agility by a certain percentage, which can also be 16 to 20%. And giving herself 10% avoided injury rate, which is immune rate in this game, just like Toshiro did. So Toshiro and her share a very similar passive. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same exact percentages, but looking at her skill, so Isolation attacks all enemies with a growth rate of 120%. Now 120% is very weak, and she does hit all. Now decrease all enemies healing effect by 75% for 2 rounds. Now the only other character that has this, I believe, is Bankai Rukia, and she costs nearly twice as much as her. But she's basically a supporter compared to Yachiru being an assaulter. As well as having disarm, she disarms 2 random enemies while giving herself 100% fury. So I would say for her being able to skill every round, she is decent. She should be able to pull out decent damage. I'd probably link her up, or not link her up, sorry, compare her with Hisagi and maybe Kensei. As well as she has Kensei's disarm and Bankarukia's basically healing reduction. So I mean, it's a very interesting partner, but to me there's nothing that really stands out. Now let's take a look at her skill. I must say it is actually pretty cool. It looks like she's going Super Saiyan or something. Now I couldn't get the battle report from the actual event, so I had to go to the forums and steal one because I don't know, I just kept linking to Shiro's battle report. But the skill looks pretty cool. Definitely going Super Saiyan on them fools. You don't mess with Yachiru after all. But let's take a look at the modifier, or the exclusives, sorry. I'm going way too far. So looking at the exclusives, growth rates always manage to go up slightly. Now the exclusive skill is the main thing you want to look at, because when it comes to exclusives, you'll be getting really big or really huge amount of stat boosts. But the exclusive skill is the long run reward that you want to achieve. Now, her exclusive skill is honestly very depressing. So, she attacks a random enemy with a growth rate of 250%, while decreasing enemies' fury by 100 and increasing own assaulter damage rate by 50% for 2 rounds. And she gives herself 50 fury. So, she has a single target hit for 250% damage, while only restoring 50% or 50 fury this time. And then decreasing enemies' fury by 100% or 100 points. I don't know why I keep saying percent. So decreasing a enemy's fury by 100 while you're only attacking one target and a random target, it's very bad, especially in a PvP scenario. I don't see Yachiru being good for PvE at all. I don't see her good for Hollow Souls at all either. So for PvP, that is terrible. I mean, you're gonna attack one target, and you're gonna just drain their whole fury. So it's like, what if you hit the Vanguard? Then you're basically. It depends on who you're actually fighting as a Vanguard, but she's not that good. And giving Assaulter's damage rate by 20% for 2 rounds. Now, there are. If you don't have a Cotton, for instance, there are plenty of Zanpakutos that increase damage rate. So it would not stack with her skill, as well as Shinemu giving damage rate to Assaulters, as well as Q Orihime. So it really complicates that. But let's take a look at her modifiers. This is where she actually. Like, when I first looked at her, I actually liked something about her. Now, there are 2 mods that really stand out. So, let's go in order. Basic Modify increases own Vanguard's defense by 15%. That was the first thing that stood out to me. That allowing her to be alive and in the formation basically makes your Vanguard a lot tankier. Now, immune to disarm, I mean, it's against Kensei's is pretty good. I think Kensei is probably like one of the top 5 most common assaulters. As far as his power or strength goes in PvP, I'd say he's definitely a top 10 assaulter in general. But you're going to see Kensei's pretty commonly because he's not that expensive, and for PvP, he's actually pretty decent. Now, immune to Fury reduction, this is very good against a lot of supports who reduce Fury as well as certain assaulters. Now, her 4th mod increases her own physical attack by 10% for each round. So this is actually a very good mod, considering that you can make Yachiru tanked out and actually have her live for at least, I don't know, maybe like 3-4 rounds. That physical attack is going to keep stacking up and it's going to be very good. Now, the 5th mod is when it gets the best, I would say. So not only does she increase her own damage rate by 18%, she also gives 12% avoid injury rate and 20% block rate to Kenpachi. So if you have Nozarashi, for instance, which I'm pretty sure you would only use Yachiru if you had a Nozarashi. Nozarashi would get an extra 20% block rate, and let's assume you have a max cap block rate Nozarashi with 135%. Having Yachiru alive would give you 155% block rate with another 12% avoid injury rate, which is another word for immune rate. That is a very good modify. And then don't forget the Vanguard's defenses by 15%. So the 1st mod and the 5th mod are very good for Nozarashi teams. 6th mod being when she gets attacked, she has a chance of restoring her own HP, which is only, I think, 10% of the damage that you're being hit for. So it's really bad, because if your Yachiru can actually manage to tank out and she'll take little damage, she won't be healing too much. But if she gets nuked and survives with like one hit point, she probably get healed for a lot depending on how much she survived. And then her ultimate mod, when she gets killed, restores allies fury by 100. Now that is pretty good, but reaching the ultimate modifier is going to take a very long time, or just a huge amount of fragments. But something that is very new to my character profiles is bonds. Now, I never took notice of bonds, but honestly they are very important. They really are. The bonds max out at level 30, and they actually give you quite big stat boosts. So let's take a look at them in order. Now, for having Kenpachi Zaraki, this is the level 90 Tavern version. She can go up to max of getting an extra 8.64% immune rate, which immune rate really helps you out because it is a defensive multiplier, so you'll be taking less damage. That is a very good bond. The second bond being if she has TSI information. Now, TSI is really expensive. I mean, you're going to be having 30,000 gold to have him in the bond formation, but she will give Yachiru an extra almost 14% damage rate. So damage rate being the damage multiplier, that's very good but very expensive. Now Shura Kenpachi gets you the 3rd mod, or the 3rd bond I should say, and when she has I think it's something to do with when she gets attacked, she has a chance to increase her own damage. I think that's what it is. It is cut off, and I think 1 or 2 partners have something very similar, or at least the same bond with the same name. So I'm pretty sure it's that she has a 15% chance when it's maxed to increase her own attack by either like 10 or 20%. And you need Shura Kenpachi from CSB, so it's not too hard to obtain. And then you finally have Big Boy Nozarashi. So this is probably the best bond. As definitely assaulters or any partner with a speed bond makes them very good for PvP. So you have Nozarashi giving her a 15% speed bond when you have it maxed out. And you really need that when it comes to PvP, because speed isn't everything, but it really helps out if you're the first one to go. Now, if you wanted to purchase Yachiru, you would have had to take part in the Huacamundo treasure event that we had a week ago. And basically, the way that worked was you spent 1,000 gold to draw 10 of any chest, and it cost 1,000 gold, and that gave you 10 points. Upon getting 200 points, you were able to redeem it. You could have combined it. It could have been any amount of lights and darks, but either way, it would have costed you around 20,000 gold. You would have gotten it probably cheaper if you did it from Huacamundo treasure. If you did it from Huacamundo treasure, doing it hourly, because you were able to claim gold for 100 gold, you were able to get one light point, one darkness point. It would have probably saved you a couple thousand gold, but still would have been at least over 10,000, at least over 14,000 gold maybe, I'm not sure exactly. But let's finally go to the conclusion of the video. So, overall, what I think about Yachiru, I think she really is not worth getting. I don't think she's anything special. The only exception I would get her is if I had a Nozarashi that was severely stacked, because her modifiers towards Nozarashi are basically the only thing that make her worth getting from me. But looking at the pros, she does have a strong passive. She attacks all. 120% growth rate isn't too high, but since she has always 100 fury, it's pretty good. Plus, if you have anything else, I could give her extra fury, and when she crits, she'd be getting more, so she could potentially be doing a lot of damage if she's properly stacked. Now, it decreases all enemies' healing effect by 75% for 2 rounds. Bankairuki is the only other person that does that to an entire team, so definitely for probably a lot cheaper than her, Yachiru would be a decent alternative. Now, she also disarms 2 random enemies, which is good if it targets the right people. Now, killing every round is a big plus. She has pretty good growth rates. She has great modifiers for Nozarashi stackers, those of you that just love to run the God Vanguard. Plus, she has the speed bond, which not too many people will have it now, except for like new partners started getting it a lot. And she has really good bonds as far as raising her damage and immune rate. Now, the biggest cons are she costs 20,000 gold if you're going to buy her straight up. And since it is a support meta, assaulters are honestly neglected. It's all about supports unless you have a very stacked Vanguard, or unless your assaulter can actually tank the hits. Her exclusive level is, her exclusive skill is very bad. Do not like the exclusive skill at all. I only see her worth getting if you're using a Nozarashi. And I think another problem is, since this isn't a speed ring or a halo, whatever you want to call it, like how Namaya has and some other partners that I really can't think of right now. But basically, a halo is something that affects the entire team when they're in the formation. See, it didn't say that to Yachiru's modify, so I assumed that if she was to die in battle, Nozarashi would lose the block rate as well as the immune rate. So that's one thing you have to worry about. Even though she is great for Nozarashis, if she dies, Nozarashi will potentially lose her buffs anyway. Her partners for the bonds honestly take a lot of time. For you to get a Nozarashi takes a few months. To get Shuriken Pachi from CSB takes another couple of months. And then you have TSI, will cost like over 30,000 gold. So it's pretty tough to get her situated, but to me, honestly, I just say she is nothing special. I really don't like that they released her, because I felt that she was just an unnecessary character that doesn't really benefit us too much, and it's just really honestly a disappointment. But that's all I had to really say. I knew it wasn't gonna be too much of a positive review, but I always list the pros and cons. You can't really be biased. So in my opinion, I would never get her, even if I had a Nozarashi, because pretty sure that she would die after like a round or two anyway. Again, especially against the support meta. But that's all for this video, guys. I will see if I could do more uploads today, and I still have to work on my test site review, which should probably be on in a couple of days. But I appreciate you guys watching, and if you have any suggestions on who I should review, even old partners, I was actually gonna do tavern partners, but it would really take a long time if I did them individually, so I'd probably have to group them up. But thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.